down to just a few points now. It is down to, let's see, looking at the championship, it's down to 6 points. So Mari Boya currently has 40 points and he starts from 5th place. Sami Megatuniv is 2nd with 34 points and he starts on pole position. Kobe Palvels is 3rd with 30 points and he starts from 14th place. Remo Kadapik is 4th place with 19 points, so very much a 3-horse race at the moment, 10 points between them. So Remo Kadapik is 4th place in the championship and he will start this race from, just looking down the field now, he will start this race from row 11. Then we have Katara Shimbara who will start down in, let's have a look, down in on the 9th row. Albanese is 6th in the championship, largely down to the fact of how well he's done here, and he's on the front row, so he has a fantastic chance to move up. Josh Vatican is next along, and let's see where he is starting. He is on row number 9, and then it's Signelis, Zamfari and Crawford.
And here we go for what's going to be certainly a thrilling conclusion of a thrilling weekend in the Academy Trophy as they go for the warming lap. As we mentioned before, of course, one of the many differences, of course, between the Academy Trophy and the rest of the grid is that we're going to have a running start this time, once again, as we had previously for all the qualifying heats. Running start instead of a standing start. 2 laps to get your tires, of course, at temperature. The first one really is called the warm lap. The second one is the formation lap, as all the drivers, of course, have to respect the rules and respect the pace that is given to them by the race director, Nigel Edwards, keeping, of course, a good eye on the entire field, because we've seen all over the weekend, as we've seen before as well, some false starts coming in at the start of some of the qualifying heats. It didn't happen in the last heat earlier today, so we shall see here for this final. But, you know, with so many drivers on the grid, 34 in total, some of them, you know, want to try actually to grab a few positions, grab a few meters before crossing the line, or at least maybe trying to get the best out of the start. But this is forbidden, of course. Over to you, Chris. The start of the Academy Trophy very soon. The pack seems in order. Here we go.
Okay then, let's get started. It's the Academy Trophy final. It's round 2 from Lonato in Italy. Albanese to your left, Megatuniv to your right. It's a start first time and Megatuniv leads us through turns 1 and 2. Then flat out we go down towards turn number 3. It looks like everyone is through nice and safely as we now head down to the hairpin for the first time. It looks very congested towards the back of the field as expected, but a nice and clean start overall, it seems, as they now head up towards the left-handers. I can see Guillaume de Figueiredo is 4th and Mari Boya is 5th. I think Caius Signelis has gone into 3rd place as Guillaume de Figueiredo now challenging for 3rd into the chicane, and he's got it. So the Brazilian up into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Mari Boya is having to hold off a challenge coming in. He's lost a place. Let's see who that would have been to. I think it's Suleiman Zamfari who's made the position, and Suleiman Zamfari 2 places gained in as many corners as he went past Caius Signelis as well. We've had a bit of an incident, it seems, but Zamfari up to 4th place early on here as they now head through turn number 3 and down towards turn number 4. Vyacheslav Volos-Yankin unfortunately has gone off the circuit at the penultimate corner and is trying to get restarted again, but that could be race done unfortunately. But the rest of the field now making their way up towards the chicane for the second time. On screen there we briefly saw the pink crash helmet there, just trying to see who that was exactly running inside the top 10. I think that is the card of Jack Crawford maybe. We'll have a look next time they come across the line. But in terms of the leaders, it's a breakaway of 3 really. That's the 505 that has gone off, and that looks to be Craig Tannock, is it, that's gone off? Or no, in fact, well, Craig Tannock hasn't appeared to come through the second sector, nor Tuka Tappinen. So certainly we've lost some drivers. It looks like the driver we saw was Ricardo Filo, the Brazilian. But as for the rest of the field, they're now making their way up towards turns 5 and 6 for the 3rd time.
And a fantastic battle already in the first laps of this final between the two leaders, Sami Megatunif and Federico Albanese, making their way into the chicane. They're very, very close to each other as some of the moves as well further back in the field. But shall we see an attempt from the driver in second position, Sami Megatunif? I think it just happened, did it? No, I think Megatunif is still in the lead as they're going to emerge out of the last open. Yes, indeed, Megatunif ahead of Federico Albanese. You can see that on screen, who is just behind Guilherme de Figueiredo, the Brazilian. Those three in the same picture, following us live on the stream, out of the two right-hander, making their way into the first hairpin, down in the track, making their way uphill. This is a beautiful battle already. The top three very close to each other. Sami Megatunif was under a lot of pressure right now after 3 laps completed. Only 3 laps in 21 race, and there's some contact, I think, in the chicane. It was very close. Maybe we got something wrong, and there comes the move with Federico Albanese taking the lead. It could Guilherme Figueiredo trying to take the inside line. No, that's not gonna happen. No, Sami Megatunif is still very threatening behind. In second position, the Frenchman who just lost the lead at the conclusion of the 4th lap. They come across the line again into the first corner, very, very fast indeed. Sami Megatunif is gonna try something. He's gonna go for it, the Brazilian, maybe in the braking zone of the first hairpin. We shall see about that coming up very soon. No, with Sami Megatunif closing the door in second position, chasing Federico Albanese, the 527, with the yellow helmet, yellow and red helmet actually, where Sami Megatunif is red and white. It's pretty green actually on the helmet of Guilherme Figueiredo, in tribute to his home country, certainly Brazil. And there he goes, the Brazilian, taking the second position from Sami Megatunif. Once again, a very effective move put together by Guillermo de Figueiredo, sorry, at the same place than Federico Albanese a lap before on Sami Megatunif. Sami Megatunif, the pole sitter, third in the championship, that lost 2 positions in the course of 2 laps. So this is still your 3 leaders in the same screen, the same picture. Let's have a look, Chris, at the gap. A bit less than 8 tenths of a second between those 3. 4 tenths between Federico Albanese and Guilherme de Figueiredo. Of course, we're still a long way to go before the checkered flag, but those 3 certainly put up everything they have, and we might have maybe a future winner in those 3, even though Suleiman Zanfari is just 1.3 seconds behind.
Yeah, well, it could go anyway. Let's not forget what happened at Salisbury when it eventually got to as many as 8 or 9 in the battle for the lead. There's very much an opportunity that could happen here again today, but it's Albanese who leads from De Figueiredo, Megatunif, Zanfari, Boyer, Crawford, Cooch, Signelis, Kortzer, Dehaan, Munoz, Andreasen, Bernison, Palvels. Ratican rounds out the top 15 at the moment then, as leaders head down towards turn number 4. There we can see the 3 of them just going past shot in the battle for 5th place, being led by Mari Boyer in the 510, just getting his head down there a little bit, with Jack Crawford in just behind him in 6th place, and Marcel Cooch in 7th place. In towards the chicane we go, and a little bit further behind that we have the likes of Marcel Cooch, of course, and Kaya Signelis, as well as Joshua Kortzer as well. Out the last corner now. This will be 7 laps completed as the championship. In terms of the championship, as it currently stands on this lap, Mari Boyer leads Megatunif by just 1 point in the championship, with Albanese 3rd, Palvels 4th, De Figueiredo 5th, then it's Zanfari, Crawford, Signelis, Kadapik and Shimbara. So there's only 1 point between the top 2. Boyer is 5th on track and Megatunif in 3rd. So losing the lead really did cost him quite a lot, actually. It cost him a good 10 points, and 9 points, didn't it, to be exact, between 1st and 3rd. And I tell you what, it could get worse, because Suleiman Zanfari behind these guys is absolutely flying. He's only 8 tenths behind, and he's closing in all the behind, and he will want redemption after what happened at Salisbury, where he come off the track and then picked up a penalty post-race.
8 laps completed, 1/3 of this final in the Academy Trophy. You can still see the 3 leaders in the same picture. Federico Albanese, 3 tenths of a second ahead on Guilherme de Figueiredo, trying to chase the Italian driver. The battle is not over yet, of course, still a long way to go, and Sami Megatunif is more than willing to catch those two, recover some ground, because as Chris mentioned before, there's just 1 point between Maya Boya and Megatunif in the current standing of the championship. Of course, we'll have to wait until the checkered flag to give you confirmation of that state, but certainly Sami Megatunif might have a good idea in his bag and trying to recover the position. If again one more position, or at least two, all the way to the checkered flag, he might be leading the championship after this round here at Lonato. We're not there yet, of course, as they make their way into the first corner. Let's have a look at the gap. It is remain unchanged so far. 3/10 between Federico Albanese and Guillermo de Figueiredo. Sami Megatunif, of course, this is a long race, and they're gonna have to play smart on that one. Maybe trying to take the inside, the outside line, get past one of the opponents, but still they're gonna need, of course, to see the checkered flag at the end. So we shall see what's gonna happen. But as you said, Chris, Zulemans and Ferry in fourth is really flying, almost a second still behind the top three. Fourth position for Maya Boya, the current leader of the championship, still a leader for 1 point as it goes. Sixth position for Marcel Kuch. Jack Crawford just got passed actually by the Polish driver, back in seventh position. Joshua Kortze is eighth. Ninth position for Joshua Kortze, was just mentioning him. In lost 2 position, is now 10 with Robert Dohan and Caius Signelis respectively in 8th and 9th position now. This is your top 10 as the field comes across the starting line again just in front of us. It's worth mentioning, Chris, that we haven't seen much of Kobe Powells, the Belgian driver, who runs now in 12th position. Of course, he had not so much of a good qualifying and difficult qualifying heat just after Kobe Powells. He was second at Salbury, but quite a tricky start of the race for him in this final, as he's out of the top 10, and in the championship that might be a little cost in terms of point, as he gets stuck at 34 points and currently in 4th position. Of course, this is still speculation from our side. We're just looking at the figures and doing some calculation as we've been doing since the start of the weekend, to give you a glimpse of what the championship might be. Back on top of the field, as the gap is still very, very close between the 2 and the 3. Guillermo de Figueiredo could be trying to hold in 2nd position with Sami Megatunif. The gap between those two is just down to 1/10 of second as they make their way into the chicane. This happening off screen right now. The top 3 are very close. Then we have in 4th, the gap has increased between Zulemans Ansari and Maria Boya, currently of 9/10 of a second between those two. There's still some good battle going on in the midfield. We're back in the leader, as you can see, the red helmet of Sami Megatunif in the 507, trying to catch Guillermo de Figueiredo, the Brazilian, just before him, trying to gain some speed, as we've seen Megatunif doing the same this weekend. Chris bending over his steering wheel with his helmet to try to gain as much speed as he can in a straight line. That's quite a good trick, but could this work actually to decrease the gap on Guillermo de Figueiredo? We shall see.
Yeah, we shall. Well, it's pretty popular, but seems to be more of something people just do to edge themselves on rather than actually making any kinds of difference. But something that I used to do, and I know a lot of people still do. Right, in towards the hairpins they go, and Megatunif, as you can see, he's at the back of this queue in the red crash helmet, just following De Figueiredo there. Quite easy to spot De Figueiredo. He does sit quite small in stature in the kart, De Figueiredo, and wears the Brazilian colours on his crash helmet as well, as they now head in towards turn number 3. This is on lap number 14 now of 21, but De Figueiredo has Sami Megatunif behind him, who was quickest through the second sector last time of anyone, as they come up towards the 2 left-handers. Uphill now they go. That will take us back downhill up towards the very quick chicane, and Megatunif doesn't look too far away from making a move here. Zuleman Zamfari is stuck in 4th place at the moment with no one really to fight with, or no one really to work with. But that could change, because Megatunif almost got the run there on Guillaume de Figueiredo, and wasn't quite able to make the move that time. But de Figueiredo is definitely falling away now, as Zuleman Zamfari will be definitely grinning with this. He'll want to continue to see these guys falling away and allow them to close in. Boya, meanwhile, has just broken away from the battle which involves the likes of Kuch, Crawford, Signelis and Dehaan. Dehaan having a strong end to the weekend with 9th place at the moment. Theo Wernerson likewise up 9 places into 10th. You say Kobe Balville struggling a bit. It's been the story of his weekend, as there we go. Change for second. Megatunif goes down the inside of Guillaume de Figueiredo. That'll cause some changes to the championship. It'll put Sami Megatunif back in the lead of the championship. And with Boya in no man's land, there's nothing he can really do about it. So Megatunif now leading the championship by 3 points as they head through turn 3 on lap number 16. And Megatunif now hoping to go after a win once again. The win that he had lost just a little bit earlier in the race would be popular victory if Federico Albanese could stay where he was, but Megatunif is here to spoil the party. De Figueiredo definitely not done yet. Zamfari has now closed the gap to 0.6 of a second as we head in towards the hairpin. There we can see the green crash helmet colours of De Figueiredo. See the rear wheel really lifting up a lot of grip out there in these finals. 16 laps now completed, only a few more to go.
Yeah, shall we see another move right now as Sami Megatunif just took back second position out of the hands of Guillermo de Figueiredo. Beautiful move put together by the Frenchman. But still, there's one to go maybe for Megatunif. Federico Albanese is still on top with 0.8 of a second advantage on the Frenchman in the 5:07, 5:10 right now in your screen. This is Maya Boya, the current leader of the championship. That was appearing there on the live stream, is sitting now as we speak in the 5th position. He was the starting position right now, so no progress so far for Maya Boya, who currently has lost the first place in the championship to 3 points to Sami Megatunif, if of course the final classification remains as it is. We shall see about that in a bit less than 4 laps. 4 laps before the checkered flag, and 4 laps maybe for Federico Albanese's victory. 4 laps as well, less now for Sami Megatunif to try to get past his opponent and take back what was his in the early stages of this race, the pole position and the lead early on in this final. Before Federico Albanese actually took things on a higher level, took the inside line in one of the hairpins to get himself into the 1st position. Suleiman Zanfari still 3rd, and this could be very interesting because Suleiman Zanfari is really cruising at such a pace that is now down to 0.3 of a second behind the top 3. So this is quite an impressive comeback from Suleiman Zanfari. And it's coming very, very close indeed as they come across the starting line again. You can see them in the picture. And a change for second indeed with Guillermo de Figueiredo getting past Sami Megatunif. We just missed that in one of the hairpin. Thank you, Chris. Change in second position. The Brazilian actually took it really, really good in the last hairpin. It was just behind our view from the speaker box. And here, change for second. We should see some other change. Sami Megatunif getting past once again, I think, in the exit of the chicane. Yeah, it just happened with Suleiman Zanfari. We're just mentioning the driver of the 512 chassis who went for it as well. Guillermo de Figueiredo just did it in the last lap, in the lap before, and Suleiman Zanfari maybe saw the possibility at the exit of the chicane, and Sami Megatunif was unable to hold his position and had to let Suleiman Zanfari through for the 1st place. Looking back at the championship, this means that Maya Boya actually is now back in 1st position, Chris, with a 4-point advantage of Sami Megatunif. So not really what the young Frenchman had expected, with a loss of 2 positions in the course of the last 2 laps. But Suleiman Zanfari really on an impressive pace. Could he maybe try to catch Guillermo de Figueiredo in second? As for now, Federico Albanese, the current leader, is 1.6 seconds ahead, and maybe could try to hold the victory until the end. We're down to 2 laps before the checkered flag.
2 laps to go. It's 1 lap to go, isn't it, as they come across the start-finish line. It was Sami Megatunif who really bore all of that on himself. He made a mistake at turn number 10 just a couple of laps ago. That saw him run wide. He was wide then from turn 11 as well, and it brought the pressure on from the likes of De Figueiredo and Zamfari, and De Figueiredo took the opportunity that was presented to him with both hands. Fantastic. Oh, and nearly wide there. Well, running wide was Federico Albanese there. Why is he pushing so hard? He's in such a good lead. and Albanese runs wide out of turn 5 and 6. Look how much that's brought the gap down by. He's going to just lose a lot of time here. That gap was 1.8 seconds. It certainly isn't now, but nerves may have now gone down because there's only one corner to go, and on home soil, Federico Albanese is going to come across the line to take victory here in Lonato. A podium for Guillaume de Figueiredo, who comes across the line in second place. Third place goes to Suleiman Zanfari. Fourth to Sami Megatunip. He will be very disappointed with that mistake he made in the latter stages of the race. Fifth place goes to Mali Boya. Sixth to Marcel Couch. Seventh to Jack Crawford. Then it's Caius Signelis in 8th place. Theo Vernison in 9th place. 10th place is Robert Tahana. Big shout out to Theo Vernison, who gained he gained 10 places to get there. Joshua Corzo 11th. Remo Kadapik, gained 9 places to finish 12th. Kobe Palvels finished in 13th place. Then it was Nicolas Pino Munoz in 14th place. 15th place was Tuka Tapanen. Josh Ratican 16th. Will Orton was 17th, having gained 15 places. Lucas Podonovic was 18th. Norton Andreasen 19th. Hiri Pachika Jr. was 20th. Maxi Torillian 21st. Kataro Shimbara 22nd. And then it's Colin Queen in 23rd. Alessio Fagione was next along. Then it was William Wolf, Konstantinos Kominos, Zigu. Then we had Ethan Ho, Rodrigo Almeida, Craig Tannick, unfortunately down the order after an early incident. And then on finishes, Xavier Dadley. That's a shame after a good weekend. Night quiet for Isidro Calles Gomez, who was on the brink of a top 10. Ricardo Filo and Volis Yankin as well. Disappointing. So the championship then has been left like this.